If you live in or even visit Aiken, you can't miss them. The life-size horse statues all around town, standing proudly. But where did they come from and what stories do they tell? Well, the Aiken Center for the Arts is proud to present the history of horseplay as told by the people who created it. I am very pleased to be here at the Aiken Center for the Arts with three people responsible for the creation of and the success of horseplay. Ann Campbell, Bill Reynolds, and Shelley Schmidt. Thank you guys so much for being here to share your stories with us.
We're delighted.
Well, Ann, I need to start with you because this was really your brainchild, right?
It was.
Tell us about what was going through your mind when you thought this might work for Aiken, what your vision was back in, 2002?
Yeah, I think that's right. I was in Saratoga Springs, New York, and they were doing a version of horseplay. And they have a wonderful long street like Lawrence called Broadway, and it has lots of trees on it, just very much like Aiken. But Aiken was going to be even better because we have these parkways. So when I saw that, I thought, oh my goodness, we've got to bring that to Aiken. So I called Fred Kavanaugh, who was mayor then, and got him, and I called Bill Reynolds just to introduce him to the idea, knowing he would be the perfect partner. So I just thought it was a match made in heaven.
Bill, when you first heard about this idea of life-size horse statues in downtown Aiken, what did you think?
Well, I was new to Aiken. Susan and I had only been here, less than 2 years. So when Ann first told me about it, being a conservative person, I said, let me think about it. I need to do some research. Ordered one prototype, had it brought down. USC Aiken art students came up with a theme, decorated it, and in the upstairs of the art center, we invited potential sponsors in one by one, showed them the presentation, then showed them the horse, unveiled the horse very dramatically, and we did not have one turn us down. We sold 31 sponsorships, and we thought, let's call it a day and get on with this.
Is that what you thought would happen? Or were you amazed by that? Yeah.
I did. No, I was not surprised.
No, we had far more responses than we had horses.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Now, Shelley, you are just such a highly regarded, well-respected photographer, not just in Aiken, but of course around the country. How did you find out about horseplay, and what was your response?
Well, actually, I had been in Aiken for about 8 years, but I was traveling doing other photography at the time, and so I hadn't had an Aiken project, and this to me just seemed like the perfect one to do. And I had been at the steeplechase where the prototype was shown, and I had just by coincidence, it was around, a picket fence was around it. It was Celestial Derby. I had photographs of that, so when I learned of this, I needed to make an appointment and come in for an interview and all. I came in with a idea which was the Celestial Derby. I had decided to put it on the Aiken training track. So again, not only did all the horses, the artists are all community, such significant artists, but nods to such incredible community institutions, dogwood stables or locations. So it just was just a brilliant community thing. So I was thrilled to and really wanted this project. So,
and it sounds like the stars aligned.
And I didn't know Annerville at the time, and it just as I say, they're the dream team, and it just was magic working together.
So Shelley, walk us through, how you went about trying to capture just how special horseplay was.
Well, I had a kind of a unique opportunity in that I'd seen, I guess it was narrowed down to like 61, and then from there narrowed down to 31. And as I recall, the artists each had 3 months to complete their embellishment, and so I knew what those designs were going to be and just decided I would think about locations. I had that opportunity and timeline. So, and the thought was, I guess there was first it was maybe going to be something different as far as how the horses were to be showcased, but then it was the idea of incorporating settings, and the idea of taking them physically there didn't work out as well as we had hoped. So
Logistics there, right? Trying to move these big horses.
we did a few. They were wonderful shoots, but it would, for 31, it was going to kill us.
Horse number 6.
Right.
Shelley called me one morning and said, Bill, this is not going to work.
Well, you needed a horse trailer. We needed people to transport. They were awkward to carry.
They were fragile.
Yes.
I want to ask you guys about the fundraising aspect of this, because that was pretty impressive as well. I mean, were you, again, surprised by the response that you had by people wanting to, purchase these horses and support?
We had a real live auctioneer from Keeneland Racetrack in Lexington, Kentucky, who came down and did a fabulous job. I mean, they can go with that fast talk and get you really excited, and before you know it, you've bought one.
That was brilliant. I love that.
Yeah, that was great.
What did you think about that evening and how successful?
Well, it was magic. It really was. First of all, it was in the big tent out at Steeplechase Field, and we had started promoting this thing 6 months ahead. When the horses came out in public in October of 2003, we had the grand opening here. We had all the horses here in the Arts Center. All the sponsors were here. They had their tuxedos on. We had the television station from Augusta over here on the 6 o'clock news, and that's when we introduced the horses to the public. Now, we started a drum beat then for 6 months. The horses were out around town, and we started a publicity drum beat. We were on television, we were on the internet, word of mouth. We had people calling from California that wanted to fly here for the auction. The morning we started selling tickets, Aiken had an ice storm, the worst ice storm we'd had in 10 years. I came down to the Arts Center just to see what was going on, and people were lined up to get in here to buy tickets to the auction. I had one guy from Augusta call and say, I don't care what it costs, I've got to get in, I promise I'll buy a horse. We worked out, a ticket for him. And another guy said, this thing has been promoted like a championship prize fight. So the big night arrived, and it was magical. I mean, we had the professional auctioneers, and we had a friend of mine who is now a retired banker. He had a consortium. They all were going to chip in to buy this horse to keep it in Aiken. They didn't know that there was another consortium from Atlanta that wanted to buy it and take it back to Atlanta. So they started bidding against each other. It was that kind of night. One woman bought 3 horses.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the generosity, it was the emotion, it was the pride, and it couldn't have been a better night for the town.
And that was 2 years
Yeah.
leading up to
In
that.
the-
You guys
in the
had worked
making.
that hard for that long.
Oh,
Wow.
Boy,
The payoff was big, yes.
yeah, a lot of details.
And now, some 20 years later, we have these beautiful horses still at very key historic places, sites in town that have meaning too. I mean, what do you notice them every time you drive by one or walk by? I mean, do you,
I think
does it bring
so.
back memories?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The one in Hopeland's Gardens that's, right near the fence.
Yes.
Never miss that.
Magnolia Mare.
Magnolia.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you look at the legacy of Horseplay, I mean, I don't know, what do you guys hope it will be, or what you hope other people, when they see them, when they come to visit Aiken, or even if they live here, what they will take away from getting to see these horses here?
Well, I think everybody has the same reaction. I mean, they are still unusual. Other towns did other animals. Pigs and I forget where, but remember
Bears,
that. Bears and all kinds. But this is a horse town. And one thing that thrills me is the emphasis put on the tradition of racehorses and the connection with the Easterners, the winter colony who came here. This was a big part of their life. And there have been 40-something champions trained on this racetrack. It's a big deal, Horsetown. And of course now it has every discipline you can think of. Racing, flat racing, not so much, but when this happened, it certainly was premier. And people love horses, and they think of horses when they think of Aiken, and I think horseplay is part of the reason.
Right, and it's a wonderful way to tap into Aiken's history and to learn a little bit more about it, because it's such a wonderful history. Not every town can share this.
Colorful.
Yes. What do you hope the legacy will be, or people will take away from it?
Well, the same thing Ann does, but looking at it from another standpoint, I'm pleased that we were able to raise $250,000 that help provide scholarships for children and seniors through the Art Center for 15 years or so. And I think what that's meant for the Art Center, what that's meant for the children and the seniors in the community.
Yeah, it is very special indeed. How about you? Because people look at your photographs and they see these amazing horses, and that's a wonderful
I think
memory.
it is such a reminder of how much Aiken, what an incredible community Aiken is, and how the strength of it and the depth of it, and of all those who were involved as artists, or properties or trainers that were all recognized and a part of the finished pieces. It was just, I think it's something that I know kids in particular and families, this is the perfect kind of an occasion to be reminded of what Aiken has here, that you can, it's a great, it just speaks so much of Aiken and the incredible community we have.
Absolutely. Well, it wouldn't have happened without you guys, and we thank you so much for all that inspiration and hard work 20-some years ago, and a heartfelt thank you for coming today and reminding us of how it all came together and why it's so important. We are so grateful to all of you. And you can visit many of the original Horseplay statues in Aiken, like this one, which is Splendor in the Glass. Learn all about its history and inspiration.